Hi, you're checking out the Lunar Echo from DMB Pedals. The Lunar Echo is a really cool and unique echo delay box, a true analog delay, capable of up to 500 milliseconds of delay time. And besides that, it offers some really cool features to do some self-oscillation sounds, and so it kind of doubles as a noise box as well. So we'll go through it today, and I'll show you some of the features of this. But you really need to try this thing out for yourself. It's really unique, one of a kind. Now, first let's go through the knobs and what we have here. We have the speed and the depth, which those are related to the modulation sound of the delay tails. So you can really get some fast modulation. Now this LED here shows you how fast your speed is for this. So you can watch that LED as I come down and it slows down. And the depth is obviously how deep, how much chorus effect is you're going to have on your delay tails. Now the switch here is a 3-position switch that corresponds to these two knobs. The top setting is called tape, and it is a tape delay, so it gives your tails that modulation effect that is controlled by these two knobs. The center section, the center switch there, it means off, so these won't be doing anything in that center position. This will be just your delay sound, your true analog delay sound through there. The bottom selection is called rect, and it's tough to describe. I'll play you some sounds here in a second, but what it basically does is it sends this modulation circuit into overdrive, really just sends it kind of puts it on steroids and does some really cool whacked out sounds. So you got to experiment with that, and you get some really cool stuff there. These cream knobs over here, you have level, which is obviously just the level of your delay compared to your dry signal. The next one is tails. This is your feedback knob, how long it will take to decay. So obviously over here will just be one quick delay, and all the way here will be, you'll get into a self-oscillation mode, which on a true analog pedal you can get some really cool sounds, so I'll show you that as well. Here you have the space knob, and that is your delay time, how much space. So you have a slap back delay here, just a really quick delay, and a really long delay, 500 milliseconds all the way up. This 2-position switch here switches between hi-fi and lo-fi. So your tails on hi-fi will be kind of a trebly sound, and on lo-fi they'll be more of a bassy analog sort of sound as they decay. So that's pretty cool. Here's your on-off switch, and over here is a button called take off, which is a press and hold switch, and you can get some really cool sounds with this. It sends itself into a self-oscillation mode. So I'll play you that here in a second. First thing I'll do is show you the pedal, show you my sound without the pedal on so you can get a reference. I'm playing a 73 Gibson ES335 through a 1966 Fender Princeton Reverb. So there's that. Now let's switch on the pedal, and I'll show you a few of the settings that I've found to be really cool, and some of the ones that you can just do some really cool sounds on. Now here is the basic setting I was using just a little while ago. With my modulation on here, on the tape setting, and my speed and depth pretty high, you'll find in these lower settings over here, they get really subtle. Very nice, but very subtle. And you can get them all the way, let me turn them both all the way up here, to a really strong sound. Which again, the speed is indicated by this LED here. So you can get some really cool sounds there. As I dial back the speed and the depth just a little bit, you get a really nice modulation effect on those tails. So some really cool sounds there. Let me turn this 3-position switch to the middle, which is off. So this is just the delays now. No modulation affected by these two. So now, as I said, we have level here, so you can do a really subtle, I'll put this back on tape for us, you can do a really subtle delay if you keep your level at about 9 o'clock. Just kind of underneath there. or you can go ahead and crank it up to 3 or beyond and get a pretty strong delay, about equal to your attack. So let me turn it all the way up for you. There's all the way up. Let me go ahead and show you. You can get some really short delays by keeping your space down and keeping your tails down to, say, somewhere below 12. So here's your slapback delay. Let me turn the modulation off for that. So there's that. Now you can get into some self-oscillation stuff even with this slapback if you'll hit some notes and turn your tails up. Keep the level down here. So there's some self-oscillation stuff you can get into. Let me turn the space down. So you can get some pretty cool sounds there. Now let me go all the way up to 500 milliseconds and give you an example there. And I'll keep the tails about 50% and they'll level up most of the way. So there's 500 milliseconds of true analog delay there for you. So let me put this on the tape again. Some really cool sounds. Let's try and send that into a self-oscillation as well. So I'll turn my tails up. Maybe not quite playing loud enough here. Well, I can't quite get it in that up at 500 milliseconds, but you get the idea there. So now let me show you the hi-fi and lo-fi setting. Now the setting here is hi-fi will kind of give you that trebly sound. Lo-fi will give you the more analog, darker sound. So here's the hi-fi. Let's compare that to lo-fi. So put that switch down. So you can definitely hear the difference there. More of a lo-fi analog sound there. So let me try some of the wrecked sounds here and show you what those are like, because those are pretty whacked out. So let me turn them all the way up and show you. Very cool sounds. Really cool stuff, man. So now let me put this back on tape and let's put this on hi-fi and I'll show you this takeoff switch here. Let me turn it down and I'll show you what happens. If you'll, let me hit a chord here, hold down takeoff. Switch it to lo-fi. Some of that bass comes back in. Turn my tails all the way up. Let's try that. And then just let it go. The great thing is if you have your tails all the way up when you let it go, it'll still continue to go. So there's just a few of the things you can do on the Lunar Echo. I've really barely scratched the surface, but if you want to check out more and want to buy it for yourself, visit dmbpedals.com.